Hi, I'm Sarah. Today we are going to work through an example using Disturbed WEPP Batch. Let me share my screen here. And the first place we need to navigate to is to the Forest Service WEPP interfaces at forest.moscowfsl.wsu.edu. And there are two links on this page that we're going to use, this Disturbed WEPP Batch link. But to build some of the input files, we need to also use WEPP Cloud. Now, I'm not going to go through the details of that today. There's another training on WEPP Cloud, but we will use a file that was built with WEPP Cloud. All right, first things first, click the Disturbed WEPP Batch download. It will bring you to this page, and you need to select the spreadsheet that goes along with your computer specifications. And the top one is the most recent one, Windows 10. We're going to select that, and it will download, and you can save it to an appropriate location. I've already done that to save time. So we're just going to go ahead and open up. This is what the spreadsheet will look like upon first opening. And it is a page on how to enable macros. The first button you'll click is this enable editing button. And then there's some instructions here on how to enable the macros. Follow those instructions and you will get to the spreadsheet that looks like this. The Disturbed WEPP Batch program. The first sheet is an instruction sheet, and then there's some inputs and then results. So the first instruction sheet kind of walks you through all of it. You need an internet connection, you need to build a climate, you need to build your hill slope, and then how to save and interpret results. And then there's some links within this sheet if you need more information. That is the instructions. Let's start off with the input screen. So we're going to run, we're just going to call this project example. And we're going to use a fire location in Idaho from the 2017 Mesa fire. You can specify a watershed. We're not going to put anything here. We're going to leave English units. We can click Save Results. This step 1, select personality. It says optional. I advise you to not do that. And then we need to build a climate. And at first, our climate list is empty. So if there are no climates listed, it says click Refresh Climates. And some climates show up. If no climates show up, you have the option to create a new climate. And I will walk you through that. You click Create New Climate, and it brings you to a tool called Rock Climb. All of the states, we're going to select Idaho. These are the different climate stations in Idaho. And I know that this Deadwood Dam station is close to our area of interest. We can look at the climate, the temperatures and precipitation. We can modify the climate in some way by a certain %. And we can give our climate a new name just to make sure that it is actually created. So we renamed it, use these values, retreat, and we're going to go back to our spreadsheet, click Refresh Climates, and there it is. And we will select that number 4 climate that we just created. The next thing to do is to build our hill slopes. And you can either enter your hill slope data manually, or using WEPP Cloud, you can build a GIS hill slope file using a topography like a DEM, soils files, vegetation files, and then a disturbance layer, such as a burn severity map. So we're going to import a GIS file that we've already built using WEPP Cloud for this fire area. And it's going to ask if we want to overwrite. And we said, yes, we want to overwrite. And it imported 3 rows of data. So we have 3 hill slopes on this hill slope data tab, 1, 2, and 3. Soil type loaded, area, slope length of the upper slope and the gradient of the upper. And then same with the lower section. We have the treatment or the disturbance of that hill slope section, and then slope and gradient. There are some blank columns here, and we need to fill those in. So we go to this match types sheet, and from that GIS soil file, it loaded up a clay loam soil, and we need to select the matching disturbed WEPP soil type. Luckily, clay loam is right there. And then for the hill slope file treatment type, we have low and high severity fire. We need to match that up with a low severity fire and a high severity fire. The thing that doesn't automatically fill in here is this averaged cover type. So based on prior knowledge, we're just going to say that the low severity fire has about 70% cover remaining, and the high severity fire has about 30% cover remaining. We're going to update that. Success. And these columns filled themselves in. The two columns that you still have to fill in manually are the percent rock. And just for simplicity, we're just going to put in 5% rock, which is kind of a reasonable, easy amount. So now all of our inputs are loaded here. We go back. That was step 3. Step 4, we're going to run 30 years of simulation. And then step 5 is run disturbed WEPP. And because we only have these 3 hill slopes, it's pretty quick. It's complete. And over on this summary results tab, it first gives us summary results for the whole area. So we had 100 acres. Over 30 years, we had 32 inches, or an average of 32 inches of precipitation per year. We had very little erosion on average, but it does break it down here by, you know, if you have a bigger storm, by a 30 or 15-year storm, you'll have more sediment delivery. And then probability of occurrence, 100% probability of a runoff, and then, you know, 45 or 50% probability of erosion. And that is for the whole area. Over on this side, we can break this down by hill slope ID. And you'll remember that hill slopes 1 and 2 were low severity fires. So very little sediment from your average storm. Hill slope 3 was a high severity fire, still very low sediment, but probably about double of what was predicted for that low severity hill slope. On this hill slope results tab, it breaks it down. Here it shows our inputs, and then mean annual averages for 30 years. You break it down by return periods, get an average, and then the probability of occurrence in each of the years following the fire. So that is a pretty quick example on how to use this Disturbed WEPP batch. On this hill slope data, like I said, you can build these yourself, and you can have many more than 3 hill slopes. You can change your soil types, and even if you're using a GIS file as your input, you can adjust it. You can say, well, I'm curious if that slope was longer or if that slope was steeper. You can change your cover. Like, I think maybe we're going to get more erosion than that. So you can change these numbers a little bit. You can also go back in and adjust your climate, thinking like, what happens if we got more storms or a bigger storm? So there's lots of different ways here to adjust your inputs. And then look at your results. And then the last sheet is a reference sheet where it talks a little bit about what the different soil textures and descriptions are, the different vegetation treatment options, and then a description of the hill slopes, the upper and lower of each of the hill slopes. All right. And I hope that you are enjoying WEPP in the Woods. Thank you.